That's the actual president of El Salvador announcing plans for a new Bitcoin city in the country. Even those who reckon they know everything about the crazy world of cryptocurrency and where it's going, and we all know a guy like that, probably wouldn't have seen this coming. It'll have everything you'd expect from a regular city, except here it's all centred around digital currency. Quite literally. If that didn't sound crazy enough, the whole place is going to be powered by a massive volcano that sits right next to it. Surely nothing to worry about there. It looks and sounds completely mad, but in a country that's already running on Bitcoin, could this crazy idea for a new city actually happen? In 2021, El Salvador became the first country in the world to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender. That means the cryptocurrency can be exchanged for goods and services in the same way as US dollars, which had been the country's only official currency for 20 years. So far, it hasn't been a roaring success, and we'll explain why a little later on. The move was brought about by this guy, El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele.
President Trump is very nice and cool, and I'm nice and cool too. So we both use Twitter a lot, so we'll get along.
As if the currency thing wasn't groundbreaking enough, he now plans to double down on his crypto gamble in quite spectacular fashion with this, Bitcoin City. Due to be built in the southeastern region of La Union, not far from the border with Honduras, the city is designed in the shape of a circle, resembling a giant coin. The main streets will all radiate outwards from the centre, a bit like a bike wheel or the arrondissements of Paris. But instead of the Arc de Triomphe, here you'll find a central plaza covered in a giant Bitcoin logo. It'll have digital amenities like galleries for non-fungible tokens or NFTs, museums on the history of money, and of course everyone's going to be encouraged to use Bitcoin. That'll either sound really exciting or incredibly tedious depending on where you stand on all this. To attract more investment, there are even plans to scrap all taxes apart from VAT, with money from that used to develop the city further and keep it maintained. Now, despite how it may appear, Bitcoin City is not just aimed at people who are into crypto and don't like paying tax. They can bring their families too. The intention is for it to be an entirely livable city. Half of it will be allocated to housing. There's schools, shops, a light rail system, airport, seaport, green spaces, you name it. We don't really know what any of this will look like yet, as there are only a few renderings in existence at the moment, but it's all there in the plan. Okay, I know what you're thinking, and let's not delay it any longer. Where does that volcano come in? Well, the idea is that placing the city right next to this one, named Conchagua, will enable it to be used as a power source. Bitcoin City will tap into the geothermal energy that the volcano produces below ground, funneling it into the grid. It works like this. When water is heated underground by the volcano, it makes lots of steam, enough to turn a turbine, which generates electricity. Because it creates virtually no emissions and the volcano provides a constant source of heat, it's a completely renewable and clean, if somewhat terrifying, form of energy. As for what the plan is if the volcano erupts, well, there are no confirmed reports of it ever doing so. It's fair to say the new residents of Bitcoin City are hoping that that status quo continues. Now, before you dismiss this plan as just a load of hot air, the Salvadorian government is apparently already doing something similar in another part of the country. A little further to the west, steam from the Tecapa volcano is being used to carry out Bitcoin mining, a process that's come under fire for the amount of energy it requires. Bitcoin mining involves getting powerful computer systems to solve complex mathematical sums, which creates new units of currency that are then entered into circulation on this thing called the blockchain. We could go on, but this is a construction channel, and to be honest, I don't really know what I've just said. So let's stop it there. The point is, the more computing power you have, the more likely you are to solve one of these puzzles and make loads of money. Unsurprisingly, a lot of this mining is going to be going on at Bitcoin City too. And because the energy is going to be coming from the volcano, it's a lot cleaner than in other places where the electricity is generated using fossil fuels. Although this way of making energy has been done on a small scale elsewhere, getting it to work at a citywide level will be a significant challenge. In fact, a lot of questions remain unanswered about the whole project, and details from the government have been a bit scarce, despite it due to start construction this year. What we do know is that the public infrastructure is set to cost around 300,000 bitcoins. That sounds like a bargain until you realise that one bitcoin was worth over $40,000 at the time this video was produced. Do the math, and that works out to around $12.6 billion US. Money for construction won't just come from VAT. To get it up and running, El Salvador plans to issue $1 billion US in bonds backed by the virtual currency, with a big chunk of the cash gained from that going towards the project. To predict whether this scheme could be a success then, perhaps we should look at how well the rollout of Bitcoin in El Salvador has gone so far. Is the president's big bet paying off? Well, not exactly, at least not yet. The dollar remains by far the most popular method of payment, and there have been several protests.
More than 1,000 people marched in El Salvador's capital on Tuesday to protest the government's adoption of Bitcoin as a legal tender.
A lot of Salvadorians simply don't understand how to use Bitcoin properly, or feel it's been forced on them, and many are concerned at how quickly things can fluctuate. Because it's a digital currency without a physical form like coins and notes, or a central bank or authority, the value of Bitcoin can rise and fall dramatically. In 2022 so far, there have been more downs than ups, including a 9% drop in a single day. So having it as a form of legal tender and investing tens of millions of public dollars in crypto, which the government here has done according to some reports, is a bit bold to put it mildly. Despite the difficult start, Bitcoin City proves that El Salvador is not ready to cash out on its crypto experiment, in fact, quite the opposite. And with Bukele's party now in full charge of the government after what some called a power grab in May 2021, there's certainly enough political will to get it done. While the crypto crowd might see this city as built just for them, the way it's being powered may attract interest from elsewhere. Maybe other volcanic countries needing new ways to generate clean power will find themselves looking to El Salvador for advice in years to come, regardless of their stance on Bitcoin. Whether it goes on to rise or fall like the currency itself, keeping an eye on this unique scheme is something that we'll be investing our time in for sure. If you enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about where construction is headed, make sure you subscribe to Tomorrow's Build.